in terms of an overall opinion for you on the MCU and where it stands right now, I mean, what did you think of the Infinity Saga, the build up to it? Just run us through just some, I guess, some bullets of where you think it hit high notes, where it hit low notes, what you wanted more, what you wanted less, something like that. Give us a little bit of a rundown.
Phase 1 was a little bit of trial and error, introducing the characters, experimenting with getting a lot of love out of Robert Downey Jr., seeing how far they could take it, realizing they may have taken it too far, then focusing on other characters in that Phase 1 universe, with the culmination of the Avengers movie, which I just think is so stellar. Every time I go back and rewatch it, I'm still surprised at how well it holds up and how much I absolutely love that movie. Phase 2, experimentation into genre films with the noir spy thriller of the immaculate Winter Soldier movie, going into your space adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy films. I thought Phase 2 was just, and then the culminating in Infinity War was just, they were hitting and running on all cylinders in all of those movies.
Yeah, it really found its stride there. It really just
found its stride so strongly, and I absolutely adore almost all of those movies, even the lesser ones that I don't like go back and rewatch as much, like the Ant-Mans of the world. I mean, they serve their purpose to introduce those characters, give elements to the world, give a power set with the Pym particles and the quantum realm, and then use that to go back into their bigger movies. So nothing was wasted. Was more things enjoyable than others? Yes, but nothing was wasted. They addressed everything. They kept that world building, which was fantastic. And now we're kind of in the dark again. We don't know where they're going. We don't know what is mainline, what is supplementary information, and where is it driving to. But I hope with the slate of 2022, as we go down it, we can maybe answer some of those questions as we keep going. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, honestly, I agree with literally like 99.9% of everything that you said. I can only add to some of it. I like the idea of how they were able to loop in some movies like Thor 2, which were thought of to be low points, and then actually became in a way quite significant, pivotal, whatever you want to call it. And again, that what I see when I see things like that is I see a studio that has long form planning. And that's what I want. That's what I want. If anything, before we start talking about like treat the characters with respect and everything like that, because that should be by implication already there. The thing that is most concerning to me and that puts me at most ease is when I see that there's a fucking plan. That works for me, and that's maybe because I'm an extremely plan-driven person, but it's also because it gives me the idea that people understand that there are repercussions to what they do to characters, to what they do to storylines, everything like that, because these things, they all build on each other. It's like one big Lego, thing. So for me, I cannot agree more with what you said. It definitely it was like an upwards track, right? And not to say that it started at the bottom, because I think it started fairly well with things like Iron Man 1, for instance, which is one of, I would say probably top 5, maybe, but definitely top 7 of all of them, right? Just because of how much it got right at such an early stage of the franchise. Or the MCU. But I definitely think like it just went from strength to strength with each, and as we got more characters added into it, it never felt like, that was my biggest concern with something like Guardians of the Galaxy, that it was going to be an overload for the average audience member. That's like, Jesus Christ, who are these 7 new fucking people? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Why is this raccoon talking? Like this shit. Like, I was scared of that you would lose people. And I mean, yes, these are superhero movies, but you know what makes the MCU so good is because it's a superhero movie, but it's very much grounded in real emotion, real stories. I mean, one of the reasons why Winter Soldier is so good is it's not really a superhero story.
Right.
It's a fucking spy thriller. And that's the thing. Dude, that's why it works. Yes, it has a guy on it that can fucking jump off bridges and throw a metal shield at, I don't know, 250 kilometers per hour. But there's so much more going on there as well. And that's the thing. And this is what they do right. They get the human drama right. And if you look at now, without doing too much of a hard pivot, but if you look at something like what the CW does with their characters, and this is on the DC side, they fuck up the human side of it. because it's this shitty human drama, you know, like
they're making soap operas.
He doesn't like me. Why doesn't he like me? Why isn't he returning my text? You know, like this shit. Like, no. So I'm sure that there's a market for that, but not in my fucking superhero movies. So yeah, I think for me, probably the biggest criticism that I could leverage is when we come to this now point where we are now. And my concern is, for me right now, that I feel that we're in this kind of like lost kind of space now with this, right? And it's maybe because we don't have a big bad, all right? And even I would take it one step further and say, maybe the big bad's got nothing to do with it, because before we knew about Thanos, we knew about the Infinity Gauntlet, we knew about the gems, and all of these things were tying together. You know, like it took us a bunch of movies before Thanos' name was even mentioned or he was shown in the background. I feel like right now at this moment in time, it's like a lot of short solo stories on its own, which is nothing wrong with that. But I think if you have that too long, if you have that too much, then people might lose interest. That's just what I'm thinking. I'll never lose interest. But I speak to people who are not nearly as feverish as I am with consuming this, you know, medium, and they're kind of like, you know, and I don't blame them, because I definitely think Eternals is fucking weak. Eternals is weak sauce. Right. So I'm not super happy with where we are right now. But if this is what gets us to the next thing, I'm okay. This has been a clip from the Separated at Birth podcast. We do a live show every Monday night at 9 o'clock CET. So come and join us, come hang out, and become a part of history in the making. All the links and details are in the description down below. We'll see you soon. And as always, fucking cheers.